Okay, pre-algebra. We're starting a new unit, and our new unit is on classifying polynomials. Our new unit's on polynomials, and our first lesson is on classifying polynomials. You're probably looking at that word polynomial and like, what is that? A polynomial is just an expression that has a number of terms and variables that are broken up by addition and subtraction. For example, you look at this first number 1, negative 5n to the fourth plus 10n minus 8 is a polynomial. And so polynomials can be named in two ways. One way is by how many terms they have. And if you look at your notes, this chart up top is very valuable. You want to keep that handy when you take your quiz on this lesson at the end. You're allowed to have that with you to help you. So this really shouldn't be too challenging because you'll have that chart. So you can classify a polynomial by the number of terms it has, and then also by its degree. So the number of terms it has is relatively easy because terms are just broken up by addition and subtraction. So I look at this one, I can see it's got negative 5n to the fourth. That is all one term. 10n, it's broken with a plus in the middle there. That's a term. And then minus 8 is a term. So terms are broken up by addition and subtraction signs. So this problem has 3 terms. If I look at my chart, a polynomial with 3 terms you can see is called a trinomial. So this is a trinomial. I put that on the bottom because typically the first thing we do, we figure out its degree. Degree is relatively easy, and the degree is basically you're just looking for the highest exponent in the problem. So if I look at this, you look at each term and you figure out its exponent. Negative 5n to the fourth has an exponent of 4. 10n has an exponent. There's nothing there. If you don't see an exponent on the variable on the letter, you can assume that's an exponent of 1. So this is a degree of 4, a degree of 1. And minus 8, there's no variable at all. That's just a number, so that has a degree of 0 if there's no variable at all. We pick the highest number, in this case, the 4, so that means this is to the 4th degree. If you look at your chart, you could see there's names for 0 degree, 1st degree, 2nd degree, and 3rd degree, but there isn't a name for the 4th degree. So when that happens, all you have to do is say 4th degree. So this is a 4th degree trinomial. That means the polynomial is a degree of 4, and that means it's a trinomial because it has 3 terms. So I'm going to put my sheet down. Let's look at the second one, 9n plus 10. So this is a polynomial. We're going to start with its degree. Its degree is, let's look. So 9n, we can see it as a variable of n. There's no number, no degree. Whenever there's no exponent, you can assume an exponent of 1. So that's 9n to the first power. Plus 10, I look at 10, there's no exponent at all. So that means there's a degree of 0. What number is higher? 1 is higher. So this is first degree. And if you look at the chart, first degree is called linear. So this is a linear. And then I need to name the polynomial by the number of terms it has. So I look, 9n is a term, then a plus sign, and then 10 is a term. There's 2 terms, and if you look at the chart, you can see that a polynomial with 2 terms is a binomial. And that makes sense, like a bicycle has 2 wheels, that kind of thing. So binomial. So this, number 2, is a linear binomial. Let's look at number 3. Number 3, 6x. So I'm going to start with the degree. I look at my variable, similar to number 2, my variable has an x, but there's no exponent. Whenever there isn't an exponent, you can assume a 1. So this is going to be first degree, and if you look at the chart, first degree is linear. But how many terms does this have? I don't see any addition signs or subtraction signs anywhere. 6x is a term. There's no other terms in the problem, so there's 1 term. 1 term is called a monomial when you look at your chart. So number 3 is a linear monomial. Number 4. 5a squared minus 2a plus 1. So first thing I'm going to do is look at the degree. I can see 5a squared has a degree of 2. 2a has a degree of 1. And 1 with no exponent at all is a degree of 0. The highest number is 2, second degree. If you look at the chart, second degree is called quadratic. So this is a quadratic. And then how many terms does it have? I'm going to count them up. 5a squared is a term, minus 2a, 2a is a term, plus 1, 1 is a term. 3 terms, you look at the chart, 3 terms is trinomial. So number 4 is a quadratic trinomial. So let's move on to number 5. Number 5 is a big one. 8p to the 7th minus 5p to the 5th minus 2p to the 3rd plus p plus 9. So let's start with degree. Degree is the highest exponent. I can see 8p to the 7th has a degree of 7. I look at the rest of them, 5, 3, 1, 0. 7's obviously the highest. 7's not on your chart, so whenever anything 4 or more, you just say the number. So this is a 7th degree. And then how many terms does it have? I'm going to count them up. 8p to the 7th, 5p to the 5th, 2p to the 3rd, p, and 9. It's got 5 terms. That's not on your chart as well. Anything over 3 terms, you just call it a polynomial with however many terms. In this case, 5 terms. So number 5 is a 7th degree polynomial with 5 terms. That's why we would name that, classify that. So number 6, 3y to the 5th minus 8y squared plus 5y minus 1. So I start with my degree. I'm going to look at my exponents. This has a degree of 5, 2, 1, 0. 5's the biggest. So that's 5th degree. There's no name for that, so just 5th degree. And then I look at this. It has 1. 3y to the 5th is a term. 8y squared is a term. 5y is a term. And 1's a term. So it has 4 terms. So again, there's no name for that. So this is a 5th degree polynomial with 4 terms. All right. Let's look at number 7. Number 7 is just the number 12. Just the number 12. There's no variable at all. There's no x, no letter of any kind. So when that happens, if I start with its degree, first thing I do is I look for an exponent, right? There's no exponent. Then I look for a variable. There's no variable. If that happens, if you just have a number and there's no x, that means it's to the 0 degree, which if you look, that's called a constant. So this is a constant. And then number 12, it's number 12. There's only one term. There's no addition or subtraction. This is similar to number 3 above it. Since when there's only one term, it's called a monomial. So this is a constant monomial. Finally, our last one, number 8, 2a to the 3rd minus a squared. So I'm going to look at my degree. First term's got a degree of 3. The second term's got a degree of 2. 3 is the highest. Anything to the 3rd degree you'll see is called cubic on your chart. So this is cubic. How many terms are there? 2a to the 3rd is a term. A squared is a term. There's 2 terms, so that is a binomial. So cubic binomial. So this was classifying polynomials. You classify polynomials in 2 ways. You name them by their degree, which is just the highest exponent in any term, and then also by the number of terms. So it's going to be a monomial, which is 1 term, a binomial, 2 terms, trinomial, 3 terms. Anything more than that, you just say polynomial with 5 terms, polynomial with 8 terms, however many there are. So you've got example or practice problems to do. Do those, check them over, and after you finish that, take the quiz in Google Classroom.